Hello everybody, my name is Bree Lester and this is my presentation on ADHD. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the slideshow view. And maybe, let's see. Wake up computer, there we go. Okay, Understanding Students with ADHD by Bree Lester. That actually is on the bottom and you can't see it, but my name's on the bottom. Alright, so how many students with ADHD are currently being served in the United States? I went on a website where I found a little bit of information. The references are located on the very last slide. But approximately 11% of children are being currently served for ADHD. And that number is actually not as high as it really should be, considering that the 6.4 million have been diagnosed between the ages of 4 and 17. So moving on, why is the percentage of children with ADHD increased? Well, according to the CDC, it has increased 15%, and they are saying that the biggest one that stood out to me was that the children are spending half as much time outdoors as they used to, and this information is taken from that of the 90s. So, and they're chalking that up to a lot of the street crimes that are going on now, more than it used to be. Now they've got a lot of human trafficking scares, kidnapping scares, more gang-related violence, just stuff like that. And it's kind of scary to have your kids spend a lot of time outside unless you're right there with them. And also, working in a school, I can vouch for this. We have a lot of accidents that happen on the playground, and so a lot of schools are trying to limit their time outdoors because the parents are suing for all of these injuries that they're accruing outside. A lot of people are saying that there is some sleep deprivation, and that's causing these hyperactivity or hyperactive behaviors. I don't know. I would really have to look more into that and do more research of my own. And then, of course, the lack of structure from parents and teachers. So, yeah, and I think a lot of it, doctors are really quick to look at a child and say, oh yeah, they've got ADHD, and just shove pills down their throats. And sometimes, they're right, but sometimes they're not. So maybe some overdiagnosing could be a factor. And children, they really do, research has proven that children do better academically and socially when they have more time outside. And that information, I'm reading my notes here, sorry. That information was taken from the Journal of Biological Psychiatry. And those authors also believe that kids are getting more access to cell phones and iPads and whatever, and they're having some delayed sleep onset. Their sleep duration is shortened, and they have the melatonin suppression. So they say that natural light may counteract the effects of this. So the characteristics of ADHD and how they affect the learning. So you can read over these. afraid this is going to get cut off. Maybe not. Okay. So some characteristics of those that have ADHD obviously are the fidgeting, the impulsive behavior, inability to pay attention, very talkative, very energetic, and although, these kids, they can be very smart, but they're still going to be lagging behind their peers by almost 30%. So it's very important that these children are diagnosed properly and that they are getting the proper support that they need, whether it be through IDEA or the 504 plan that we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. And a lot of the ADD and the ADHD, they coexist with other problems. A lot of them are like the learning disabilities, sleep disturbances like I just talked about, anxiety, depression, things like that. And do all students with ADHD display the same characteristics and degree of behaviors? Well, the simple answer is no. But here's why. Some students have different types of ADHD and ADD. Some of them are the hyperactive. Those are the ones that are very fidgety and have trouble interacting quietly. They're interrupting and they're always on the go. The inattentive type, these are the ones that are forgetful, that are easily distracted, finding it difficult to sustain attention during lectures and other learning activities. And then, of course, those that have both, these are the more severe cases, and these are the ones that are probably going to be in the IDEA plan. But of course, not everybody is going to show the same characteristics. Everybody has their own personality and unique behavior. What category do students with ADHD fall under? IDEA does have 13 categories of disabilities, but ADHD is actually covered under a different category called Other Health Impairment. That I got from the book. Oh, and of course, yes, if a student that has ADHD, if their ADHD does not affect their academic performance, they aren't going to qualify for IDEA. They are going to qualify for a 504 plan instead. And here is an example of a 504 accommodation plan. This was taken from 176 of the textbook. There was not this picture in particular, but there was a 504 plan that is a collaborative, systematic parent-student-teacher approach, and that is to aid in education of the student. So it is a 3-step accommodation plan, and those steps are listed on page 176 of the student textbook that we received for the class. So searching online, I wanted to find some effective class-wide interventions for all students to engage in. And a lot of these I have done in my own classroom. And these can include avoiding large group, but instead break them up into groups of 4 or 3 or 5 if you think you can handle 5 at a center, but the smaller the group, the better. And we do those centers for differentiated instruction like we talked about before. And we can provide some examples. I always, anytime we are doing an assignment, whether it be a craft or a worksheet, I always provide an example for them for visual reminders, so it helps them. Also, I did on page 183 in the textbook, I did find some pointers. Pairing students with similar interests. That's a great idea. I never really thought of that before, but that is a really great idea. Using a timer. We have a timer that we use. Every center, they have 10 minutes. And once that center is up, then we go on a rotation. There are 4 different rotations, so everybody gets to learn the same thing, only in a different way. So that is very good for those that have a hard time sitting still, focusing on one project for longer than a few minutes. Color-coded planners for assignments. I came across that idea through a peer, and I think those are great for the older students that they need that stimuli. They need to know blue is for science, red is for math, orange is for art, whatever you do. And obviously you want to praise your students for their good behaviors. You want to model acceptance and appreciation for everybody. You want to say, hey, Jimmy, you're doing a great job. Wow, what an awesome coloring you're doing. I don't know, just whatever. But you always want to praise them, even if it's just for the smallest of things. It's going to really help them boost their confidence. And also, some of the students that have poor self-esteem or low self-esteem, maybe coming up to them and be like, wow, Jill, you did a really great job on this assignment. I think that maybe you could help some of your peers. And that's going to make them feel so special and so important. So just little things like that, those are going to be a great way to have effective class-wide interventions for all students. So here are my references, and I thank you for watching. And there's the end. It cut off, but at the very bottom there was the I cited the book, but it cut it off. So anyway, thank you for watching my presentation on ADHD.